Well, hello. I got all my ingredients up here, getting ready to try to make some baked Zita by request. They said, well, you're part Italian, you should know how to make it, so I had to go get some of my ingredients today because I didn't have everything. So I'm going to start with putting on a pot of water to cook my Zita pasta in. If I get the right burner. I am going to put a little bit of salt in the water. Now, I've got my ground beef thawing up here because I did have it in the freezer. I think it's thawed enough that I can go ahead and start trying to cook it. And I'm cutting down the recipe just a tiny bit. I'll give you the full recipe, but I'm cutting down on it because I don't want to fix a 9 by 10 or 9 by 13 inch pan full of this. So I'm fixing a smaller pan. I've got my stuff written down here. Yeah, a 9 by 13 pan. So I've got a, what is this? Well, it's in centimeters. But this is about a, I don't know, 8 by 8 or 9 by 9 inch pan, which is going to be plenty enough for me. And it's just a square pan. I had a 9 by 13 pan, but I broke mine years ago and I never did replace it because that was about the time I ended up divorced. My kids were grown. I ended up breaking my glass dish. So I never replaced it because I really didn't have a need for that big a pan anymore. And I said if I ever needed that big a glass baking dish, I'll just run buy one real quick and use it. But I don't want to fix a 9 by 13 inch pan of this because I don't want that much, because I'm the one that's got to eat this. I mean, I can freeze part of it and I'll probably freeze part of this, I don't know. But anyway, here we go. I'm showing you how to make it. I'll basically tell you what I'm putting in there, and at the end I will give you the ingredients for a full 9 by 10, a 9 by 13 pan if you want it. But I will give you that. But like I said, I'm fixing a cut down version of it because I don't want that much. Or I'm trying to make a cut down version. I may not accomplish it, I don't know. Because really I should be putting a half a pound of this hamburger or ground beef in there. And I've got probably a good pound. And that's what is called for in the original recipe if you make the full recipe as a pound. But I've got a smaller dish here. So if I end up making too much, I'll put the excess in this one and bake it. And I'll freeze this and have it for another time. I really didn't intend on cooking all of that, but oh well. And I still may not if I get all this out of it. I'll keep the frozen part of it and save it for tomorrow. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. because I really don't want all of that much. So I've got about a 1/2 pound to a 3/4 pound of ground beef. Now, if you want the cut down version, if you want the full version, put in a whole pound of ground beef. But I put in like a 1/2 pound to 3/4 pound, maybe not quite that much, of ground beef. And I'm browning it, and I'm going to brown 1/2 of a medium-sized onion with it. I'm also going to brown about a tablespoon of garlic, because I used all of my, well, a 1/2 tablespoon, put it that way. And I guess you can see in the pot, I'm not sure. I don't think you can. Probably too far away. Now you can see a little bit in there. But anyway, I'm browning my 1/2 pound to 3/4 pounds of ground beef. Now this is the broken down version. At the end of the video, I'll put in, or I'll put the information down in the description for the full version of the recipe. If you want to make a full 9 by 13 inch pan, I'll put it in the description below the video. Otherwise, if you're going by what I'm making, the smaller version for a smaller pan, I'm using about a 1/2 pound of ground beef. It's anywhere from a 1/2 pound to 3/4 pounds of ground beef. A 1/2 of a medium-sized onion, 1/2 tablespoon of garlic. You can either use crushed fresh garlic, or you can use the minced garlic that's already in a jar that you can get, that I keep as a backup all the time. That's up to you. And the full recipe calls for a whole pound of, and I got Penne rigatoni noodles. That's the same thing as Zita, but I can't find one that's called by the name of Zita, so I just got Penne, which is the same thing. And I'll put that in my boiling water as soon as it starts boiling over there. I decided, since I had the request to make this, that I'd go ahead and make it, and that would be my dinner tonight, and probably my lunch and dinner tomorrow night, or as long as it lasts, I don't know. And the cheeses that you use with this, that can vary. I mean, some recipes call for provolone cheese, sour cream, mozzarella cheese, and grated Parmesan. Some recipes that you will see will call for ricotta cheese. I prefer to use the ricotta, but I didn't find any. Not in the size container that I wanted. So I ended up getting the sour cream. But ricotta cheese is really good in it because, you know, most people do use ricotta cheese in their lasagnas, which is, this is real similar to a lasagna. But again, recipes are not written in stone. You can change up some of the ingredients to suit what you have available. I bought, first of all, I got a small container of sour cream, which is 8 ounces, and I don't know, I may use all that or I may not. You know, it just depends. I got a small 2.5 ounce of grated Parmesan. I got 8 ounces of thick cut mozzarella cheese. Probably see it better over here. And I found some sliced provolone, which it's an 8 ounce package. So that's the cheeses I'm going to be using in my baked Zita. Like I said, you can switch up the cheeses, you know, to suit your taste or whatever you got available. And since I don't have tomatoes available in my garden right now to cook, I chose to buy just a traditional pasta sauce. It's just a tomato sauce, you know, with some of the ingredients in it. I think it's a classic blend of tomatoes and spices. I could have just used crushed tomatoes or pureed tomatoes if I wanted to. But I said, well, this is pretty cheap. It was only like $1.19 for this can. It is an 8 ounce can, 1 pound, 24 ounces. And in the full recipe, they call for 2 of these. So, you know, I don't want that much. So, if you want a cut down version of it, just get one can, 24 ounce can of either spaghetti sauce, pasta sauce, marinara sauce, or you can make your own. Like I said, I usually make my own, but I don't have fresh tomatoes in the garden right now, so I can't make my own. I'll go ahead and give you the recipe while I'm waiting. If you want to do the full 9 by 13 pan, you'll need 1 pound of dry Zita pasta or the Penne pasta, because it's the same. 1 chopped onion, 1 pound ground lean beef, 2 26 ounce jars of spaghetti sauce, 6 ounces of provolone cheese sliced, 1.5 cups of sour cream, 6 ounces mozzarella cheese shredded, 2 tablespoons grated cheese, and you'll need the 9 by 13 inch pan for that. But like I said, I'm not using a whole pound. I'm using about 1/2 pound to 3/4 pound of beef. I'm using a half of an onion. I'm using, I'm going to try to use maybe half of the Penne pasta, the Zita pasta. I'm probably only going to use half of my sliced provolone cheese, which will be maybe 4 ounces of it. I'm only going to use about a cup of sour cream instead of a cup and a half. I'm only going to use about 3 to 4 ounces of mozzarella cheese. And I will go ahead and use 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan because I like that. And I've got plenty of it. So that is the full version. But now I'm working on my cut down version. So it just depends if you want a whole 9 by 13 inch pan, or do you want like a 9 by 8 inch pan. Just depends on how much you want. Yeah, I only put about a half of that in there because it was only up to here. It was only full about 3/4 of the way, or about to there, and I got it down to here. So I used about half of what was in the box. And I'm just going to use a 24 ounce can of pasta sauce. And I'm going to heat my oven to about 350. I'm going to go ahead and pour my pasta sauce in there. Yeah, I always have to cut my recipes down because, you know, cooking for one person, you don't want a 9 by 13 inch pan of baked Zita. I mean, like I said, unless you're going to be going somewhere that you need a big pan of food to take, and then it would be perfectly fine. And I'm just going to let that simmer while my pasta's cooking. After I get it stirred up. And I went and harvested my lettuce today, and I harvested a small bowl of basil because I always love basil. I don't care what kind of sauce I use. Turn that down on a simmer. I always love my fresh basil, and that came off of my basil plant in the yard. And I know usually you cut it, but I'm just going to break it right over my pot. It cooks down to basically nothing anyway. I mean, I love basil. And I have videos on how to dry basil in your dehydrator, dehydrate it, how to store it. Because I've been using my basil out of my garden all winter. That's enough. I might put some garnish on the top of it with that later. So I broke up about 4 or 5 large basil leaves in there. Yeah, I was going to try to wait and do this type of dish when I make my own homemade tomato sauce or pasta sauce, you know, with my tomatoes. But like I said, I do not have tomatoes yet, so I can't do that. And I still may do that, you know, when I get tomatoes in the garden. Turn that down on really low because I don't want it to burn. Took this out. I don't even know if I'm going to use it. Open that and set it over here so it's ready. Oh, and I wanted to mention something too. I've got people requesting different recipes, and they seem to be getting offended if they request it today, they don't see that video posted the next day. Well, I can't work that fast because I get emails of people that request different dishes to be cooked. I get requests put in the comment of different things. So I try to put it in a list, and I go down the list and do things as they come in. I don't want to jump ahead and make somebody that put in a request a week ago and jump and do something that someone requested today. You know what I'm saying? I put them in a list, and I try to go down that list and do them in order. So if you request something today and you don't see that video tomorrow, that's why, because I've got other things on that list that are ahead of you. So it's not that I'm not going to do it. I just have to be fair, so to speak, to the other subscribers. Takes just a little bit for that pasta to cook. Not too long, but it does take about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe. Not quite that long. See on the box what they say. This 10 to 12 minutes. Yeah, I was right because I said 10 to 12 or 10 to 15. But ours is going to look a little bit different than what's in this picture because they didn't do a baked Zita with it. And one thing I need to tell you too, whenever you drain your pasta, you don't rinse it. You don't run cold water on it or anything. Because if you do that, the sauce will not stick to the pasta. So just drain it and then start putting it in your dish and putting in your sauce and that type of thing. That way the sauce will stick to the noodles instead of, you know, just kind of like running around it. If that makes sense. I know they're not even close to being done, but I either get that too low or I get it too high. I needed it a happy medium in between. I've done so much running around today. I doubted I was going to be able to see my granddaughter for her birthday. So I went ahead and got that in the mail. Because I bought her something that, if she doesn't like, I wanted her to have time to be able to take it back to the store and exchange it for something else. I mean, I don't think she'll exchange it because I think she'll like it, but you just never know. Plus, I sent her money, so she'll be a happy camper either way. Oh no, I don't like the way this is set. Well, you've seen enough of the pot cooking. I don't think you have to watch that anymore. So, because you'll need to see what I'm going to do about putting it together more than that. Yeah, if you just cook the pasta al dente, as they call it, not quite soft and done yet, but a little bit firm, because it's going to cook a little bit more when we put it in the baking dish and put it in the oven, because it's going to be in the oven for, what, 30 minutes at least, till you get that cheese melted and it starts browning at the top, so... Yeah, I figured, well, this is an easy enough meal for me to fix for tonight, so. And again, while we're waiting for that pasta to cook, if you want the scaled down version like I'm cooking, use only a 1/2 pound to 3/4 pound ground beef, a 1/2 of a chopped onion, about a 1/2 tablespoon of chopped garlic or minced garlic, 1 can, at least 24 ounces to 32 ounce can of pasta sauce, spaghetti sauce, marinara sauce, or marinade. I can't pronounce that. But any of the sauces. Or if you want to make your own, more power to you. I just didn't have the tomatoes. And I'd rather, if I'm going to buy canned tomatoes, I'll just go ahead and buy the pasta sauce. You'll need, this is for the full version now. You'll need, like I said, 2 cans of your pasta sauce or spaghetti sauce. You'll need 6 ounces of provolone cheese sliced. You'll need 1½ cups of sour cream. You'll need 8 ounces mozzarella cheese shredded. And you'll need 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan. And you'll need a 9 by 13 inch pan for that. And you'll need the whole full box, the 1 pound box of your Penne pasta or your Zita pasta if you can find it. But Penne is the same thing. Let me try one of these and see how done it's getting and get it cooled off. I think it's done enough. So I'm not even going to drain it in the colander. I'm going to put a lid on this and drain it right in the pot. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. And I've actually let the lid slip. And I ended up dumping part of my noodles down the sink. After a while, you get used to what you're doing and you don't do that anymore. Okay, first of all, and you don't have to grease the pan if you do this. I'm going to put just a scoop of my sauce in the bottom, or maybe 2 scoops, and spread it around. Well, I went ahead and put I'll use this one. And then we're going to put about half of our pasta. And then we're going to put about half of our sauce. I better turn that burner off, hadn't I? Now what I'm going to do is put sour cream, just dab it on there by the spoonful. I think that'll be plenty for that. Oh, my provolone. And this is 8 ounces, so I don't need all of this, because they only call for 6 ounces if you're doing the whole thing. So I can get it off of here, and I'm just going to lay it on there. I'm just going to use 4 slices of it. I'm going to sprinkle on part of the mozzarella cheese. I'm hoping this will fit. I hope I didn't misjudge it. It'll fit. I didn't put too much pasta. And then just put more of your sauce. Well, actually, you put the rest of your sauce because we're not going to put any more layers. Ooh, that hot's hot. And I am going to put a baking dish under this in case when all of that melts down, any of it tries to run over. So I don't have it run over in my oven. Now, what I'm going to do now is sprinkle on just a little bit more of the mozzarella. I mean, I guess you can see what I'm doing. I have a tendency to getting my hands in the way because I am left-handed basically. I use both hands, but since I'm basically left-handed, I have the tendency to hide the camera or hide what I'm doing by, you know, with my arms. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put my well, I'll get this package open. Oh, they just tore open, but I guess sometimes they don't. I haven't lost my touch, y'all. It's been ages since I've cooked this. And I'm just going to sprinkle that grated Parmesan right on the top. You can tell the difference in this and the kind you buy in the little sprinkle can. And like I said, if I hadn't have had to buy a great big old container of it, I would have gotten the ricotta cheese. But the provolone and the mozzarella is just as good. And I'm probably putting a little bit more of this on than the recipe calls for, but that's okay. It's all good. Now, about so you bake it for about 30 minutes in a preheated oven of 350 degrees. Whoops, I got to get my baking dish or pizza pan or whatever, because I don't want it to have a chance to boil over in my stove. So I always do that, just so nothing boils over in my stove. Because let's face it, it's a lot easier to take that pan and put it in the sink and scrub it than it is for me to go in there and have to scrub that oven out later. So, and I didn't even need my standby pan. have to scale down all these recipes because they're just too much. I mean, when you've only got one person to feed and to cook for, it's hard to cook a 9 by 13 inch pan of pasta. I mean, it's way too much. I'm just putting that stuff in the refrigerator to get it out of the heat. Well, I better watch the time. Okay, 6:45. It's about 7:14, 7:15 right now. No, 6:15. So 6:45. It should be ready to come out of there. In the meantime, and I did go get me a new sponge. I had a package of 3 because you know I did clean out the bird bath with that old sponge the other day. But I did throw it away after I got through with it because it was falling apart. Now this is good served with a salad, a side salad. And garlic toast, if you like garlic toast. That's usually what I fixed with it. I always fix garlic toast or garlic bread and sometimes a salad if I had the lettuce and stuff to make a salad. Sometimes when my kids lived at home, I didn't have. Sometimes I was lucky to even have the stuff to make the pasta. So I'll rinse that out a little. And I'm used to working in small spaces, so. But it's always nice to clean up as you go. So when you get your dish cooked, basically all you have to do is sit down and eat it after it's cooled off a little bit. And it does depend too on how hungry I am. Because a lot of times, if I'm not too hungry, if I fix a salad and I sit down there and eat that salad, I can't eat anything else. If I was real hungry, I'd fix the pasta, I'd fix me a salad, and I'd fix me a piece of garlic toast. But most of the time, I cannot eat that much. And I'm fixing this on, what, Thursday night? But by the time I get this video finished and get it uploaded, it'll probably be Friday before you see it. But that's okay because I've posted 2 videos already today, so. And like I said, I always take my dishwater and I pour it in my pots outside. I usually put it in the closest ones, or the little rose bushes that are out there in the rock garden in the front. Whew. So that much is done. We've got the baked Zita in the oven, cooking. Some people call it baked penne, but take my word for it. Your penne pasta and your Zita is the same thing. I mean, it's just hard to find a box of pasta in the store with the actual name Zita on it. I mean, you're going to more than likely find penne pasta. So, but it's the same kind of noodles, the same kind of pasta, made the same way. Basically lasagna made with Zita pasta instead of the lasagna pasta, the flat long one, which I made for many, many years. That's what my 9 by 13 inch glass baking dish was known for, was my lasagnas that I made. But like I said, you know, my kids were grown, moved away, it was just me, so I didn't use that big dish that much anymore. And the last time I did use it, somehow I dropped it and broke it. So I said, oh well, I'll be using the one I've got in the oven more now anyway, because it's a smaller dish. And like I said, if I ever needed a 9 by 13 glass dish, I'll just go buy one. But I don't think I'll ever really need it. I'm glad that's done, because I've got my dinner cooked, or it's cooking. I don't have to worry about dinner now. I've got it done. And I'll be having my video done too at the same time. That's one thing I don't mind about doing my videos, is because I usually cook things out of the garden, which right now, you know, it's hard because I'm just starting to get a few things, like my yellow squash that I did my video on the other day. That was the first harvest of yellow squash that I've got for this summer. And these two zucchinis are the first ones that I've harvested this year. And I'm not sure how I want to cook them yet. So that'll be a video coming up on the green zucchini, or the black beauty zucchini, as they call it. I had to sit down and rest my back a little bit. And I know y'all can relate. If you've ever had back problems, you know when you stand a long time, it starts telling on you. And it always helps just to sit down for a minute or two. So I can sit here while this is cooking. We've still got 20 minutes. Almost 25 minutes to go. Yeah, I used to make lasagnas in that 9 by 13 inch pan. Filled it full of ricotta cheese and provolone and mozzarella, parmesan. It was good, y'all. But I had a lot of stuff in it. I think the last time I ate a lasagna was when I was working at Brahms. And I was just working there temporarily. And they had this restaurant that delivered food for sale in the store. You know, it's prepackaged, but it was right from their restaurant, freshly cooked or freshly packaged, and it wasn't even frozen. And they had these little tiny individual trays of packaged lasagna that they made right in their restaurant. And all you had to do is take it home and pop it in the oven and heat it up, and you had your lasagna. So that was the last lasagna I had, and it was really good. Wasn't as good as what I always made, but it was good. And after I worked all day long, I really didn't feel like coming home and making a pan of lasagna anyway. So yeah, I'd get that little tray. It was just a good size helping that you would cut out of that lasagna pan for a person. So it was just enough to make your meal. You know, and you could make a garlic toast or have a small salad with it too. Yeah, I got out of the knack of cooking so much when I worked because it was just too much to have to come home every night and actually cook a meal. I did a lot of my cooking on my days off. I'd cook big meals and then freeze it. And then, you know, I could take it out and just warm it up like a frozen dinner. And I just wanted to straighten this camera up. Didn't realize I had it sideways. Y'all think I'm on a boat that's about to sink or something. I gotta get me a little bit more lemonade. I'm thirsty. thirsty. I should be drinking water, but this is water too, I guess. I don't think lemon and water is bad for you, so. But you should get your water every day, that's for sure. I got so many good comments on my no-bake pineapple upside down cake. It tickled me. A lot of them said, "Oh, it looks so good, I've got to go try it. I'm going to get the ingredients. I'm making one tomorrow." I hope they do, because it's a really good cake. And it's even better when you take that leftover juice and pour it on the cake and let it soak in. Oh, it's so good that way because it moistens the cake. It's not dry. And it has all that pineapple flavor in the cake. Makes it really good. One thing I despise is a dried cake. I do not like dry cake. And pouring that juice in it just makes it, just makes my day with my cake. Check on it, see what it looks like. Starting to look good. That cheese is starting to melt. I'm going to need my gloves over here. Eventually, I know, but not right this minute. I had two matching gloves, and over the years I wore one brown one out, and then I don't know if I got this one for Christmas one year with a kitchen towel or something, but I said it don't matter if they match or not, they're both good. Things don't have to be all matchy all the time. If they did, I'd be in trouble. I hope y'all try this, and if you're like me, an individual, do like I did. Tone down on the ingredients. Don't make enough for a full 9 by 13 inch pan. Almost cut your ingredients in half and go with like a 8 by 9 or 8 by 8 inch pan. I'm not sure what the measurements are on that. It's either 9 by 9 or 8 by 9, something like that. But that, you see, that's a good size pan. That's plenty enough for one person. That's way too much for one person. I mean, that's a good meal there for 2 people, and you'll still have leftovers. I do it all the time. If I have recipes that I love, that I always cooked for my kids, my family, when I was still married, I just cut the recipe in half. I don't cook a whole recipe because it cooks too much food for me. So that's just a suggestion. You can still cook like normal, just cut down your ingredients in half. Cook half as much. A little bit cheaper that way to cook it too, because you're only using about half the ingredients that you used before. And a lot of times you already have that on hand. Like I had some elbow macaroni in my cabinet already. I could have used that instead of the penne pasta or the Zita, but it just wouldn't have been the same. I mean, the Zita pasta and the penne pasta is made just a little bit differently. It's a longer pasta, and it's made just a tiny bit different than the elbows and the rest of that. But you could surely use any of the pastas you wanted to. You don't have to use a penne or a Zita pasta. But I prefer to use the kind that goes with the recipe if I can afford to buy the ingredients, you know. Sometimes you can't afford to buy everything and you might have something on hand. So use what you got on hand. It works just as good. Okay, we've got about 15 more minutes. Yeah, I feel for people. I mean, some of these recipes that are out there, they have so many high dollar ingredients in it. I don't see how people can afford to even buy the ingredients to cook the dish. I mean, it's beyond me. But a lot of people make, you know, they've always had a lot more money coming in than I've had my whole life, so I could understand it. Like this gentleman that was in Walmart the other day when I was just picking up a few odds and ends that I was out of. I think I spent maybe $20, $30 total on everything that I got. And his wife had these 2 gigantic briskets or ribs or something, slabs of meat in the bottom of her basket, and that's basically all she had. And she was just standing there. And I said, well, she must be waiting for somebody. And all of a sudden, here comes this gentleman walking back in the store, and he walked toward her, and he said, well, why are you waiting? Why haven't you got it paid for and come on out? She said, well, you've got the card. He had the credit card. She didn't have it, or the debit card. And he rang that up, and it was over $90 for those 2 slabs of meat. So I said, well, and this was the weekend before the holiday, Memorial Day. And I said, well, they're either buying it now and they're going to put it up for next weekend, or maybe they're going to have their celebration a week early and have it that weekend. But that was a lot of beef. Of course, I mean, you know, beef is expensive, so you don't really get a lot for what you spend anymore, but still almost $100 for 2 slabs of beef. That was what I would spend on my whole entire groceries for almost a month. Well, usually it's about $200 for the whole month, because I try to limit what I spend. Sometimes it's $150. It just depends on how I've run out of things. I try to buy things in quantity, because a lot of times you can get it cheaper that way. And then maybe the next month I don't have to buy every single thing, because I'm still using something that I had from the previous month. So it may be a little less, or it may hit $200 for the month. But yeah, I try to stay on a budget. With my income, I have to be able to pay my bills. And really, $200 for the month is stretching it for me. That's a lot of money. A lot of times if I spend $200, it includes allergy medications, which are not cheap. It includes maybe a multivitamin or something else that I need. So sometimes it's not just all food. Maybe laundry detergent, or, you know, some of the odd stuff that you got to buy from month to month that you don't eat. It all adds up. Well, it'd be nice if some of you were here when I take this out of the oven and you could help me eat some. Oh, I'm getting tired and sleepy. Ugh. I was debating if I wanted to go ahead and fix a couple of pieces of garlic bread. I don't know. That might be a bit much. I think if I eat a big helping of that pasta, it's going to be a plenty. I won't even be able to eat a salad with it. I'll be so full. Yeah, I know a lot of people out there right now are hurting the way the prices for everything have gone up. I mean, by the time you pay your car insurance, your house insurance, maintenance on your car, maintenance on your house, your utilities, all of that good stuff, there's no money left to buy food. What are we even talking about? I mean, nowadays you got a sanitation bill to pay every month. You got a water bill every month, electric bill, a gas bill, house insurance, car insurance. And I've got oil change coming up in my car, and they're going to want to change out one of my filters. And I think the cheapest filter is air filter that goes in my car is about $150, counting the maintenance to do it. And then usually when they change my oil, they rotate my tires. That's another additional $20, because they charge you at least $5 a tire to switch your wheels or to rotate them. That's usually why whenever I get a new car, the first time I have to replace tires, I get them at Discount Tire. They have just as good a tires as you're going to get at the dealership, maybe even cheaper. And guess what? As long as you buy your tires from them, they rotate your tires for free. So that's what I'll be doing when I have to replace the set of tires on my Nissan. That's what I did with my previous cars. I started getting tires at Discount Tire. That way, if I have a flat, they'll fix it. If I need my tires rotated, they will rotate them for free. So, you know, I'm saving money by getting tires there. So, we'll see. That is, if I have the money to pay for them when I need them. Sometimes it's kind of doubtful, you know. And like I said, I know there's a lot of people out there who are probably in the same situation. They don't know from one month to the next if they're going to keep their bills paid. And it's heating up here in Texas, so your central air has to run. So that's going to boost your energy bill up every month. But I must admit, since I put in my central air, my electric bill has been a little cheaper than running the window unit. I mean, that window unit, it pulled electricity, it was unreal. Because it ran 24/7, it never cut off. It didn't have a thermostat on it. So it just ran and ran and ran. And it just I'm telling you, it just drained the electricity. Like I said, I still got it in the window, but it needs to come out. I need to replace my window. But all of that costs money too, so I've just left it. I said it's not my priority. It's not on my priority list. He said, my son says, oh well, Mom, it might be a good idea just to leave it that way. If something happens to your central air and it goes out, they don't get here to fix it in time, you can turn on the window unit and at least cool the house down. I said, yeah, but the only thing is the window unit don't work correctly. And you can't run it on anything but low. And that's not much more than blowing a fan on you, so I don't know how much good it would do. But oh well. That's just hazards of life, isn't it? Just life. And check on it. I don't want to burn it. It is looking good. Got about another 10 minutes. Oh, man. And some of you may like more sauce than what I put on it. But like I said, I cut my recipe in half, basically. So you can do yours however you want it. Okay, stop yawning, y'all. It's been a long day. Productive day, but a long day. And I've gotten tired. So this will be the last thing I do tonight is get this done, eat me a helping of it, clean up what little bit of the mess I've got left, upload my video, and then I am going to put myself on the couch and I'm going to become a couch potato for the rest of the night. The rest of the evening and night, and just watch television. Find me a movie or something on to watch. And then I can get up tomorrow and start all over again. Sorry about that, but I'm getting so tired. It's what, 7:40? Almost 8 o'clock. Big. Yeah, if you got even 4 people in your household, if you want something just for that one meal, that small dish is plenty for 4 people. That would make 4 gigantic servings for each person. I mean, a serving for each person if there's 4 people. And if you had a salad and garlic bread to go with it, you got a meal right there just using half that recipe. It's a bubbling in the pan. Alright, a few more minutes and I'm taking it out. I wonder how many of you have already tried a dish like this. Instead of cooking the lasagna, making baked Zita or baked Penne. I don't even like saying penny. Don't even sound right. Baked Zita. Zita. Should have been in there long enough. Don't want to take that off yet. Take this out of the pan. But don't that look good? There's my dinner tonight. I don't think you can see it too good up there, the way the light is shining on it. But there you go. There's my baked Zita. If I say it right, I'm not sure I say it right. Baked Zita. Probably ought to let it cool a little bit, but whoa, that cheese. Look at the cheese. That's one thing that I always forget about is the mozzarella, because it is going to strain. And if it was cooler, it wouldn't be quite as, it would set a little bit more. And I wouldn't have made such a mess with it getting it out. Don't that look good, y'all? Baked Zita. As requested. It's got all that cheese in there. Y'all take a bite. Don't that look good? That cheese stringing. Y'all gotta try it. That is good, y'all. And this is what I was going to do with my basil. I was going to garnish my plate with it. See there? See how good it looks with that basil on there? So, there's my baked Zita. Y'all try it. If you want to use the whole recipe, use the whole recipe. I gave you that in the beginning of the video. If you want it cut down like I did for the smaller pan, basically cut your recipe in half. But this is my dinner, y'all. So I'm going to end my video. And I'm going to enjoy my pasta. Y'all have a blessed evening. Thanks for hanging out with me and spending time to watch my video. Leave me comments, thumbs up, all the good stuff. Like, share, and subscribe to my video. Y'all have a blessed evening. And I'll see you on my next video. Bye now.